Izuru Kamukura versus Meruem is a matchup that I'm really interested in, as while Meruem was born to be the king of a race of species which feast on humanity, Izuru Kamukura was created to become humanity's greatest hope. These two are both not only the strongest of their species, but also of their entire series. So who would win in a fight? This matchup's actually really close, as I hope to outline today, so if you're going to enjoy this video then make sure to like, subscribe. For the sake of clarity, I'll be looking at Meruem after the rose bomb went off, as that is when he is at his strongest, and I won't be taking into account Izuru from the virtual world, since that's not even the real Izuru, plus it requires Meruem to be in the virtual world at the same time, and at which point you end up with a lot of technical complications, pun not intended. As usual, the calculations of the feats that I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below. Now let's start with talking about the Chimera Ant King, Meruem. Meruem's raw power can scale as high as being able to destroy entire mountains. This comes from the feat where he casually fires an energy blast and outright destroys a large mound, calculating out to over 500 megatons of TNT. Speed-wise, and it's a little bit more of a debate as to where Meruem should scale to. At an absolute baseline, Meruem should be in the massively hypersonic ranges. This is due to the fact that even before the rose bomb went off, he was capable of easily reacting to Isaac Netero, who was able to attack faster than over 150 times the speed of sound. Meruem should also scale higher in speed when it comes to the likes of Cheeto, who's capable of moving so fast that bullets seem frozen by comparison, calculating out over 667 times the speed of sound. I should note that this is a high-end calculation though, because a lot of people calculate this feat to be lower, but I figured it is important to bring up. Meruem can also potentially scale to light speed. This is due to the fact that Netero's attacks is often being compared to this being of light, and Meruem himself has an N ability which moves as fast as light, with Meruem having full knowledge on how it works down to the protons. This is further backed up by the fact that Meruem seems to move as fast as the flash of light, as it hasn't dissipated yet by the time that he has knocked out Knuckle, meaning he could be relative to it. However, this only really applies to the anime, as in the manga it's a lot more ambiguous. Either way, a light speed argument for Meruem does exist. Looking at Meruem's abilities, he is a natural genius when it comes to Nen. Nen is the spiritual power system within Hunter x Hunter, and Meruem has the ability to both regenerate upon eating someone or part of someone, but can also absorb their Nen through eating them, outright being able to gain their abilities if fully consumed. Meruem is also an absolute genius. Despite not being that old at all, he is capable of mastering Nen almost instantly, which would normally require years of practice in order to do. He's also capable of beating all of the world's best board game players at their own game, despite the fact that before that point he had never played any of those games. He's also shown intelligent fighting capabilities, being able to precisely strike a pressure point of someone to instantly incapacitate them, and also predict their opponent's moves through a form of precognition. However, by far his most terrifying ability, both in a metaphorical and literal sense, is his fear manipulation. His sheer aura is capable of striking fear and paralysing people who are around him, and after the rose bomb, is capable of almost aging someone up through the fear. After the rose bomb, Meruem gains the abilities of his two strongest subordinates. This involves the ability to grow wings, fire energy blasts, and be able to read people's minds and emotions. He should also be capable of resisting lightning and fire attacks as well. But another aspect of Meruem's abilities also acts as a double-edged sword, as after the rose bomb went off, Meruem was poisoned and over time began to slow down and die across the day. So this acts as a weakness, but it also works in Meruem's favour, as anyone who is around him will also be poisoned in the same way. That said, how does it stack up to Izuru Kamukura? Izuru Kamukura massively upscales from the likes of Komaru and Toko, who directly scaled to the Big Bang Monokuma, which was so powerful it was capable of splitting a large amount of clouds, requiring power equal to 202 megatons of TNT, or enough to destroy a mountain. Izuru scales to this due to him being directly stronger than both Komaru and Toko herself is capable of physically deflecting attacks from the Big Bang Monokuma, so the fact that Komaru uses a hack gun to fight it doesn't make the scaling invalid in my eyes. Speed-wise, and at a bare minimum, Izuru can scale to defeat in Danganronpa If, where Mukuro is able to move so fast that not only bullets, but explosions look frozen in time by comparison to how fast she's moving, meaning that she would have to be moving over 10,000 times faster than sound. There is also some faster than light scaling for Izuru, since Komaru is capable of dodging a blast from the hack gun, which fires off blasts of electromagnetic waves in order to manipulate technology, and electromagnetic waves travel relativistic to the speed of light, with this calc in specific putting Komaru just over the speed of light. Nagisa's mech is also capable of intercepting the hack gun at 4.4 times the speed of light. Izuru should scale to this as well. The only reason that Izuru scales to every feat in the Danganronpa series is because Izuru has the most powerful talent. You see, Izuru was created to be the epitome of talent itself, which involves every talent in the world and being better at each individual one, even when the greatest people in their respective fields are literally superhuman in terms of skill. That means, for example, Izuru is a far greater detective than the world's greatest detective. He's also the most intelligent in the world when it comes to every school subject, including sciences, mathematics and such. He's also an elite gambler, being more skilled than Celeste, who could win a game of gambling she didn't even know the rules to, and while she was playing. Izuru is also a master in hand-to-hand combat, as he's not only more skilled than every single martial artist in the world, but even the ultimate martial artist herself, Sakura Ogami, has superhuman feats of skill to speak of, such as sparring world champions at a young age, beating the world's strongest man at age 14, and going 400 consecutive fights without losing. He's also more skilled than the Ultimate Soldier, who has been in countless fights, but has never had any kind of wound on their body. They're also a master of stealth, being able to react to things instinctively, and is an expert with every single weapon. Mukuro can also use the Shikuchi technique, which is a sidestepping technique which allows the user to move so fast that it looks like they're teleporting, and Izuru should scale to this as well. With the Ultimate Analyst talent, Izuru also has a form of precognition, being able to dodge attacks that he can't even see. This is further amplified by the Ultimate Clairvoyant talent, which has a low accuracy to predict the future, but considering Izuru is a lot more intelligent and also has the Ultimate Analyst talent, this percentage is likely far higher. Izuru also has some charisma-based abilities such as Ultimate Hope and Ultimate Despair, being able to instill crippling despair and the opposite of that for hope into someone. Izuru also has enhanced hearing, can tame any animal, can fix a broken laptop and turn it into a super advanced AI replicating 16 people's personalities perfectly with super limited technology. He's also capable of creating animations which can hypnotize people, and with the Ultimate Pharmacist talent, Izuru could create strength enhancing drugs and create antidotes. Izuru should also be capable of copying any murder technique as a form of technique mimicry, and should be so skilled that he could cut someone's head off, remove something around their neck, and then reattach their neck to their body, and it just doesn't kill them somehow. But by far the most broken talent that Izuru has access to is Ultimate Luck, which practically turns him into a god. With this ability, Nagito, who has Ultimate Luck, was capable of surviving impossible odds. However, it works in a very specific way. In order for Izuru to have good luck, he must first experience bad luck, so that a greater good luck can come to overcome it. For example, Nagito experienced the bad luck of being on a plane that got hijacked, but then experienced the good luck of a fist-shaped meteor falling out of the sky and landing specifically on the terrorists who hijacked the plane. Another note is that for bad luck Izuru needs to experience, it is no way needs to be proportional to the good luck that he will get. For example, Nagito once threw a ball off a wall and it bounced off his head, and that counted as bad luck. However, the good luck that came from that was a chain reaction where every single screw in the building came loose and it caused the entire thing to collapse. We also see something directly like this, except to a lesser extent with Izuru directly. Nagito just pointing a gun at Izuru was enough to count as bad luck, and thus Izuru's good luck kicked in and made the gun jam. Considering Izuru's massive intelligence, he would definitely be able to abuse this to its fullest. There are also talents that exist in Danganronpa V3, but it is a bit of a grey area as to if they can be used due to the placement of the timeline and such, but if you do buy it, Izuru mostly just gains more skill amps, and also has the ability to reduce someone's mental state to that of a child. Yeah, the Danganronpa manga is a little bit weird. But with Izuru's talents all being laid out, is he capable of taking down Meruem? Looking at their raw physical strength, Meruem and Izuru should be pretty relative, with Meruem only being 2.7 times stronger. While yes, Izuru massively upscales from Kamaru and Toko, so you can argue the gap would be much smaller, the Meruem feat in question was done very casually, so I would argue that even then, Meruem would have the edge in terms of strength. Speed-wise, however, and it gets a bit messy. If you don't buy Lightspeed Meruem, or even just the higher end Cheeto scaling, Izuru would massively outspeed Meruem. Using his far greater skills, Izuru would just beat the crap out of Meruem until eventually he goes down. Especially since, while Meruem is more powerful and more durable, the gap is far closer in terms of strength when compared to their speed. However, with Lightspeed scaling for Meruem, it's a lot closer, albeit Izuru still has a little bit of a leg up over Meruem. While yes, Meruem does have a form of precognition, so does Izuru, and Izuru also has a lot more skill in terms of martial arts, along with the Shikuchi technique. Keeping that all in mind, it's going to be really difficult for Meruem to land consistent hits on Izuru, albeit not impossible, as it's only around a 4 times difference. Meruem also has the advantage of having more reliable ranged options to attack with energy blasts, and also being able to fly away from Izuru if needed. Although considering there are lots of characters who are capable of leaping many feet in the air and masters of acrobatics, Meruem would have to fly significantly far away in order to not be in any danger from Izuru, and even then something like Ultimate Luck would still be able to hit Meruem through something like a meteor. But that said, the main debate of the fight comes down to their most broken abilities, Meruem's fear powers and Izuru's ultimate luck. Izuru would most likely be literally frozen in fear and be aging just being around Meruem, but Izuru's ultimate luck is also a passive ability, meaning that he doesn't have to even be moving or be conscious of it in order to still attack Meruem, even in spite of his fear manipulating abilities. I could see Izuru being completely frozen near Meruem, only for a volcano to erupt just under Meruem to send him flying. Honestly, Ultimate Luck is just too broken of an ability for Meruem to handle, in my opinion. Considering Izuru's greater hand-to-hand skill, greater speed, and extremely high intelligence, I don't see how Izuru couldn't take full advantage of this talent to its fullest capabilities. Although it is very possible that Meruem does manage to beat Izuru through aging up and poisoning, I just don't really see it. If Izuru is able to escape from the fight, he could create an animation to hypnotise Meruem, although that does seem a bit far-fetched, as while Meruem is slower, he could also just fly and fire energy blasts, not giving Izuru a chance to do so. Another issue to take into account is that even if Izuru does kill Meruem, the poison coming from Meruem would definitely finish Izuru off. Although even then, it's possible that Izuru could turn out okay. With the ultimate pharmacist talent, Izuru could very well create an antidote, although it would surely require Izuru to beat Meruem fast enough so that he wouldn't succumb to the effects of the poison, which considering their relative stats doesn't seem likely. However, we then have to again consider both the far higher intelligence of then by comparison to the actual ultimate pharmacist, and also Izuru's ultimate luck. While yes, the ultimate luck ability is passive and doesn't need to be something that Izuru needs to will to take effect, there are some circumstances where Nagito actively wanted or needed something only for ultimate luck to provide it, such as when he wanted a drink out of a vending machine, but when he put the money in, it didn't dispense the drink he wanted. As a result, a truck came flying out of nowhere, crashing into the vending machine and giving Nagito all of the drinks inside. I could totally see something happening mid-fight where Izuru realises he's been poisoned and suddenly stumbles upon something which works as even just a temporary antidote. It's outlandish to say, but ultimate luck is outlandish. It isn't even outside of the realm of possibility considering what we've seen ultimate luck do in the past. Or maybe I'm just jumping the gun here. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. The way I see it, if you don't grant Meruem light speed scaling, he gets absolutely cooked. But if you do, I'd say he still loses, but it's a hell of a lot closer. Considering the aging ability plus poison, I think it's reasonable to assume that Izuru could die while fighting Meruem. But ultimate luck is just far too overpowered in my opinion, and I think Izuru would win simply because of that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.